So where are you from? Where you grad? And what was it like growing up?
Um, I was born in Wahiva, and I grew up in an apartment complex called Queen Emma Gardens in downtown Honolulu. I remember one of my first memories was like some tweaker breaking into our house because we lived on the bottom level of the apartments, and
It's not too far from here.
yeah, it's right here.
Yeah,
This is a crazy story, bro. I remember waking up and I see this dark shadow moving. I thought it was my dad. I was all fired up. My mom wakes up and just loses it, like ready to just mass murder. And the guy ends up like running out, but he took my Tiffany little, those little bells. Like I guess my grandpa gave it to me or something. And he took that, and I just remember ding, 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 ding. And my mom screams. He leaves, runs away. And so like in my mind, I see that dark figure. As a child, I remember that. And then it wasn't shortly after, I remember I had a dream about my mother floating out to the ocean, and she was like this big, huge golden angel. And I was at Kaimana Beach in the sunset, and I was just crying, but she's like, it's okay. And she was an angel. And as a 2-year-old kid, you don't know what that looks like. That's why I remember, like, how would I know those details? And that's what's really crazy about the mind. I had never seen an angel before, but I told her, you're an angel and you're flying out. And I was crying. And so I remember that part of my life, from the guy robbing the house and my mom being an angel and her waking me up, right?
2 years old.
It is pretty interesting. And then I moved to Kauai. First, we moved, I think it was we went to our house in Hawaiian Homelands with my auntie guys have Hawaiian homes. They transferred it from Molokai to Aloha, and then they had like an Airstream trailer, and then Aniki hit and just blew that little silver bubble into pieces. And so the Hawaiian Homes gave us the land, and it was like, it's funny, it's such a strange plot of land. You never get this mind. It's like 3... like slanted hill climates, kind of like an ahupua'a, but it was just red dirt. Impossible to plant grass on. So forevermore, these hills was just red dirt hills. And the Airstream was at the top. And then when Aniki destroyed it, FEMA money, FEMA help. And then we built a really nice 3-bedroom greenhouse on the hill over there in Hokulele Road next to Anahola Mountain.
Oh, okay.
And as it was building, I think we moved to Hanalei, and I lived in this like duplex house. The houses that are cut in half. One is a house tenant here, one's a tenant here, and my neighbors were like Holly Beck, this girl I grew up with. I remember her, and I lived across the street from the school, and so I went to Hanalei School. Hanalei School, have you seen it? Have you seen that school before?
I've never spent time on Kauai.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's the most beautiful school on the planet. Like, it's a beautiful school. Behind it, the Hanalei Mountains. Like every day, waterfalls. School, 8 to 10,000 foot, 8,000, 6 to 7 foot, 1,000 mountains, waterfalls. Walking to school every day. Late to school every day. I lived across the street. I opened the door. I walked down the steps. The crosswalk is right there. Late every day.
Well, nothing's changed because you came late today too.
Yeah, bro. I don't believe in time, and honestly,
time is just a construct.
Bro, I just know I gotta go somewhere. But I respect people's time. I try to a lot, and I have a lot of anxiety trying to respect it. But I cannot choose people's time over ideas and the present moment. So I gotta find a way to balance both. And I don't want to let people down either. So so then from there, I lived in Honolulu for like 3 years, and then I had to move to Anahola, and I went to Kapa'a Elementary over there. And I love that house in Anahola. That house in Anahola, the address was 4223, and it was on the road. I love that house. It was a 3-bedroom house, and it had a yard, and it had a little cottage, 1-bedroom. The rent, I'll never forget the sign. It was $750. $750 for a big 3-bedroom house, gravel driveway, garage, backyard, and a 1-bedroom. And so I love that house.
It was just you and your mom?
Yeah.
You're an only child.
Yeah. And so my mom got divorced when I was like 18 months or something. It sucked. But then my dad decided like he wanted to move to Kauai, and like I always wanted a family like that, and so then like that house was so cool because then he could move right there. So Pops had his own zone, and every day I would go over there and he'd make like scrambled eggs, and orange juice, and he'd pick me up from school every day and take me to get like a Slurpee and a Manapua. And like, I don't know, like my mom never picked me up from school. It's like my dad was every day. My mom just made me ride the bus, and she was like working and doing stuff. She worked at the radio station called KKCR, and she would interview all these like practitioners and heavy people.
Yeah, 'cause she was deep into the hula world.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. She has one of the only original like proper podcasts of Mililani back in her prime. You know, like going off all kinds of knowledge about the land of Mu. I spent a lot of time at the radio station. I didn't know what was going on, but she was running a podcast like this.
Yeah.
It was
Before
cool.
podcasts were even invented.
Yeah, no, for real. I have all the tapes. I'll give you those. And so yeah, I remember that. But it's interesting, like trauma for kids you don't feel until like you're our age. And you know, when my dad moved here, all you ever want is a family growing up. When you're a child of being divorced, and like I really do love my dad a lot. You know, I just don't respect him, and I don't respect a lot of my family members, but I do love them, and respect to me is much bigger than love. But I do eternally love them. But my dad is like, I just have a connection because I'm a kid, and so like every day I'm just so fucking happy. Like my mom's here, dad's here, every day, and then like I don't realize the toll it's taking on. It's hard to live in Kauai. You know what I'm saying? Like really hard. And after 6 months, my dad like couldn't do it anymore. And I remember like as a kid, he said, I gotta move back to Oahu. And I remember being like, oh, you know what, Dad? Like I understand it's hard to live here. And I know you did your best, and I'm sorry that I made you. And I'm taking the blame, you know, like trying to be a kid, like
At how old?
like 9 or 10. Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, Dad, that that you made, you know. And so then like when he left, like it's crazy because like I would go to the door every day thinking he still lived there for like a month. And you don't like feel that shit until now.
Like you're feeling it right now as you're
just always
about it,
yeah, like when I'm in this age, you're just blind to it. You just think, oh yeah, it's this life, they're doing their thing. And like fuck those decisions people make. Like selfish decisions for comfort instead of decisions for what's right, for what's respect, you know? Like my daughter, I would never do that to. I don't give a fuck how much money I have to make, whether I gotta work nonstop and not sleep or do something illegal. I'm gonna take care of her because I don't ever want her to feel like I don't
like you felt
love. Yeah, it's crazy, but they don't even feel that. That generation is so disconnected. The baby boomers, they're just, I guess they've had a tough life, but doesn't mean we gotta have one like that. They always tell us, "Old people in Africa," or "Oh, well, I had it hard." I'll tell, yeah, well, why do I have it hard? Just because you had it hard.
Yeah,
That you break generational curses, bro, and they want to keep us in a generational curse. Every time I have ever interacted with anyone from that generation involving money or something being given, it's always expected back. I have never in my life let someone borrow money. I give them what they ask for because I don't want to expect that to come back and start to not like you because you're disrespecting me. If I can afford it, I want you to have it because I want to set the standard and I want to set that example. And I feel that giving a gift that's expected back is giving a borrowed gift, borrowed happiness. Oh, you can have them now, but if you don't give them back, I hate you. Well, bro, like you loved me when I didn't have it. It's material, you know?
Yeah. No, I didn't know that about your childhood. So now,
oh, dude, it was
now hearing it,
Yeah.
it makes me understand you a lot better. How you are with your daughter, because you absolutely love your daughter.
Yeah.
You speak so highly of her. She's 18 months, and you're just a great father.
Thank you.
And I see, because you wanted to give her a better father than you had.
Well, I just love her like so much. Like my daughter, like for all men out there, and you just have a newborn or you have like a daughter, understand that like when you have that daughter, it's better than a boy. To me, because I wanted a boy, and then I had a daughter, and then that kid loves me more than anyone on this earth ever will, and it's a girl, right? it has freed me from ever wanting and longing for a partner that's a woman. So many men can't handle the postpartum postpartum psychosis and issues that happen with the pregnancy. It's like the test of all relationships, right? A lot of times they're left feelingless after that happens. And so when the daughter's born, they're so focused on their own selves, their own relationships, their own feelings. The kid is just like neglected. As a result, your feelings don't matter once you have a child. You brought that kid in. He didn't ask to come here. Mm-hmm. So your feelings need to correspond with what does this child feel better. Because trust me, if you don't, when that kid grows up, you're going to end up hating yourself. And you're going to feel the feelings that I never felt now, just like that. And so I don't understand. Like, I really want men to understand, like, connect with your daughter. Love that kid. Focus on that kid. And look at how much that kid loves you. Look at how every time you go to get up, that kid gets up and walks to you. Every time you walk in the door, she's so happy to see you. You do anything, that kid's coming with, it's following you. You can't go anywhere without it. And if you go anywhere without it, she's going to cry, right? Don't you want that in life? Like with someone, whether, like, don't you look for that in a girlfriend? Don't you look for that in a friend, right? Like, no girlfriend's gonna get up everywhere you go and do that, right? No friend, no guy friend, unless they're being paid as an assistant or something. But this is for free,
unconditional.
And I think about how much shit my parents have put me through, and like that experience with my dad, it happened. So he hasn't even fucking met her. Mm-hmm. He was here when she was born, you know, and he thinks that, like, I'm mad at him for some bullshit that makes no sense because he feels like a shitty father.
Right? Have you communicated that to him before?
I always tell him it's fine. He got a new girlfriend and married, and I'm fucking so happy for him. It was his first girlfriend.
When's the last time you saw him?
Like 3 years ago. But
Does he have any other kids?
No, he just had his first love is his wife now, and I'm so happy for him. Like, I am so happy. He told my mom that he thinks that I hate him because of my mom. I don't give a shit that you're not with my mom. You know what I mean? I want you to be happy, like, you know? And like, yeah, it's like, this is the type of shit. Like, look, he hasn't even met his goddaughter. And he was there. Like, I would talk to him on the phone the day she was born. Like, you imagine how bad that fucking hurts.
Yeah. So you were based from like 9 and on, you were just raised by your mom, whom I met.
My dad.
She's so nice.
My dad would come in and out.
Okay. He was but there. You lived with your mom.
Yeah, straight. Okay. So I wish I could live with my dad.
And your mom is still here with, you know.
Yeah. She loves me so much.
Yeah, she's super.
Yeah.
Every time I went over to the house, she's like, "You need anything?" I was checking her, like, "Mom, I'm good.
Yeah. She's just so happy. She's happy to, like, when success happens. Like,
she's really nice.
She's cool. She definitely loves me unconditionally, like my daughter does, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So what was the rest of your childhood from that? From that point on, and then how did you get into filmmaking? Was that always a passion? Were you into other things?
Bodyboarding. I loved bodyboarding.
Oh, okay.
I used to say I always knew I was destined from 4 years old to be the greatest filmmaker, creator, artist to ever live. That's what I knew from when I was 4. And I will become that no matter what. It's just destiny. But I used to tell myself, how am I supposed to become the greatest if I love bodyboarding so much? I used to, like, every day, all day long, I'm watching, like, Jeff Hubbard on the TV, studying the backflips.
Yeah.
I never would learn anything. Even though I'm studying it, I still couldn't do the moves. But I would watch them a million times over and over and over and over and over. And I loved bodyboarding, man. And I got really good. Like, I still have dreams of the barrels that I would get on the spot in Kauai that is, like, way more just ballistic than pipeline, and a mix of Teahupo'o and Tahiti, right point hand brake. I just remember parking it in barrels out there that were the size of a house, bro, like 20 feet tall, 20 feet wide. And one of the most clearest moments I have is, like, during my prime. My idols are out there, Jeff Hubbard, Spencer Skipper. This is our spot, bro. It is torrential downpouring rain, perfect north swell. Waves are hitting the cliff. It's about a half a mile out to sea. and these A-frames are coming in, and there's just one surfer out there, and it's my idols are there. Okay, we're talking like 6 years in the making of watching these guys on videos every day, and I'm owning them at my spot. And it's proper 20-foot face, 22-foot face, death bombs, brown water. Crazy, yeah. And I get this massive barrel, and I look at my idol on the shoulder, and he throws a shaka. I was like, yeah, kick out, don't claim it. Go back out, catch another one, come out of the barrel, and just do a massive invert. Boom! Like high, bro. Like, I'm not joking. I can show people. I was really good. And I punted this air that was like at least 6 feet out of the wave. And I remember my legs flew over me like a frog. And I ended up landing in the flats and then pulling it off in front of my idol. And then now you know like how big of a blessing that is to be having the greatest session of your life in front of the
Yeah, I know.
And then the wave that will never ever leave my mind and haunts me to this day for me to want to go back and feel that again. This death bomb comes out of nowhere. I'm looking at Teva Dexter, who owns that Black Bear Surf Company. It's getting pretty big on the North Shore. It's called Black Bear. Ask Teva Dexter about this, bro. This bomb comes from out of nowhere. I look at the boys. I'm like, you guys want to go? They didn't want no smoke. They just looked at each other. No. So I just turned around and just committed. And I remember falling from the sky like a good 20 feet. Like just out.
You went right over the falls?
No, I airdropped.
Oh.
And it was such a bomb. And like
you
I was
cut wind when you landed?
No, my hands immediately like wow. I immediately like they flew out in front of me when I landed, and I smashed my nose directly on the leash plug. I knew it was bleeding immediately because like it was hard. Like I got rocked, blah. Like and then I was like, yeah, shit. But immediately I was like, if I cannot fall right now because the wind might be knocked out of me. You don't know your wind's gone until a second there. So I caught myself and I pulled back into it. This wave's 20 feet high, bro. It's huge. And then everyone's got their arms out like this, like just claiming it, like the whole shoulder. And then I just park it. And remember, it's pouring rain. You cannot barely see from here to you. Pouring, like black rain. And then this barrel comes flying over me and all the rain stops. Like a huge house of a barrel. The rain just goes shh, and I'm just it's like black and green barrel. And then my idols and all my friends are there. And I just remember I felt it sticking my tongue out. So I stuck my tongue out and the thing just spit. And then that's probably the last time I boogie boarded. I literally retired after that wave because it was this but they said I was sticking my tongue out and smiling and my nose was bleeding in the barrel. Imagine a photo of that.
Too bad there wasn't as much coverage back then.
No, you weren't allowed to film that wave.
Like
if you film that wave, they're gonna beat you up like bad. Like guys got lickings. If you filmed on the cliff, if they caught you filming on the cliff, any locals like that, thousands of dollars of cameras are being broken on site. And it's 30 lickings. Kauai is gnarly. We should talk about that. Kauai is gnarly, but you can ask that. So, yeah, I lived. Where did we get off track? I lived there in. I moved to Aloha and I lived there. Moved out of that house to the house next door, which was a way more smaller. It was a downgrade. It was like a studio. And I just had to watch another family move into that house. But it was really traumatic. You know what I mean? Like seeing a whole other family all happy and shit, and then their dad. The whole same situation that happened to me happened there. And like you're seeing kids in your yard, like it's just bullshit, you know? And then money is a funny thing, man. Like if you don't have it, life sucks. And honestly, if you don't have money, you can't be happy. Like I am happy because money gives me freedom in a society I'm stuck in. If you have aloha, then you can be happy in the forms of your settings. Yeah? Like if we lived in Kalalau Valley, we don't need money. You need aloha, right? If you live in a society like here,
you need money.
You
gotta pay rent.
Bro, you have to. You cannot have aloha if you're on the streets, bro. You know what I mean?
Aloha's not gonna pay rent.
Hell no. It actually does. It actually does.
It might give you a discount.
It actually does. Look at your podcast. Yeah. Right?
I guess that's true.